Welcome to this series for last lap for XAT 2022. And I'm sure you must have attended the previous classes as well. And like we did for CAT, we have brought up this series to help you with the last minute preparation for XAT. Okay. So in this series, we'll be talking about different topics, different sections that are tested. And today we are going to do decision making, okay, which is a unique section which you do not find elsewhere, right? So when you talk about that, this is the thing that comes to your mind, right? Decision making, how to prepare for decision making. Okay, right. Yes, it requires some preparation, but it is something which is a sort of logical thing, and we will discuss some of the cases from past year papers to understand that how to answer questions. At the times there might be close options, so how to tackle those close options. So we will see all those things in today's class. So good evening all. I hope your preparation is going great, and you must have seen where your center is. You must have downloaded your admit card. Okay, so all things good and fine with you. All right, so let's start today's session. So first of all, we'll discuss some basics. Okay, so like how decision making can be tackled. What are some do's and don'ts that you need to keep in mind? Because decision making has certain things, right? While answering questions, you need to keep certain things in mind. Be passive. You do not have to be passive. You have to take a win-win decision and all those things, right? So we will discuss all these things today. All right, so let's begin. So first thing is we'll talk about strategy. What is the strategy to answer the question? First of all, you must identify the problem. Okay, so whatever is the problem stated, read that properly. What have they given in the problem, right? So unless you understand the problem well, you won't be able to answer it correctly. Like this, you have to identify key players, right? Who are the important stakeholders in that particular question, right? So your decision should be such that it should involve all those key players. Okay, let's say some dispute between parents and teachers in a school, right? So what are the key players? So the key players are the parents, right? The school teachers, the school management, the students. So all those are the key players. So any situation, identify who all are the key players in that problem. And then of course you need to understand the question, what is the question asking, and answer accordingly. Okay, you should consider all possible solution courses of action given. So basically decision making is sort of like you have course of action in critical reasoning. So you are given 5 different courses of action. Please evaluate all those, right? So do not read just option A and see that okay, so option A looks good, so let me mark it, right? Go through all the options, eliminate the wrong ones, and choose the best alternative among the remaining ones. Okay, and what are the characteristics of a right answer? Okay, so it should be a win-win situation, right? Win-win situation, and it should be practical, feasible. So as I said, win-win means that it should contain all key players. So if it includes like all key players, if it's a collaborative action, okay, and it is practical, right, it should be feasible also, right? And apart from that, one thing that you remember is a lot of times they test you on ethics, right? The answer should be always ethical. You should not be unethical in answering questions, right? So sometimes they test you on uh, ethical based decision making. So that should always be ethical in nature. Okay. All right. So next is avoid extreme options. Okay, so we will discuss some cases wherein some extreme options are given, right? Let us say like firing an employee from a company, right? So unless it is the person has done some heinous crime, that person should not be fired. Okay, for some small reasons you cannot fire an employee. Similarly, let us say a person has been, let's say it's a political party, okay, and a person has been accused of something. There are just allegations, the crime has not been proven, and you fire that person, right? So you should avoid some, you can maybe you can suspend for some time, right, but you cannot remove that person altogether. So those kind of extreme options should be avoided, right? So one extreme is this, that you punish at the harsh end. The second action is passive, right? Don't be passive, you have to take some action. If something is going wrong, you have to take some action. You cannot be passive or you should not be. So generally you will see two options on the extreme ends. So those two can be eliminated. Okay. And it should include all relevant points, whatever are stated, right? And include all the key players. And always look for something that gives you a sustainable response, right? Which is a long-term benefit. So we will solve some questions and we will see that we will incorporate all these pointers while answering the questions. Okay, so let's see questions on this. Okay, so here's the first passage. Right. So it says that Professor Vidya is a chairperson of the faculty academic committee. She was trying to understand the implications of decisions taken by student placement committee on placement issues. So there is a college which has a student placement committee. They take care of all placements, right? And there is a faculty academic committee which supervises them, right? So Professor Vidya is the chairperson of that committee. Okay, so it was alleged that, now it is alleged, right? Alleged means it is not proven, right? So just allegations. Biswajit, a final year student, inflated his grades in his biodata that was sent to the recruiters. The president of SPC requests the FAC to debar Biswajit from the campus recruitment process. Okay. When the matter was brought up for discussion in FAC, one of the professors remarked that Biswajit too should be allowed to defend himself. Okay. So you should have a collaborative action. That you should be seeing the viewpoint of the other person as well. Right. Before debarring him, they should check his viewpoint also. Why did he do that? Right. Maybe others were doing that. Right? Did he do by that, or what was the reason? Okay. So when Biswajit arrived for the meeting, the situation became even more challenging. So he was called that, why did you inflate your marks? Okay. So in the campus recruitment process, he inflated his grades, right, so that he can get calls from different companies. Okay, so he had inflated his marks, so he presented that. He raised the issue that many other students who had misrepresented grades to get coveted jobs had gone scot-free. There were other students also. Now he brings up another point that there were other students who had also increased their grades and they were not caught in the process, right? They were successfully taken up in the placements. Okay, he alleged that these students were close to the president of SPC and therefore no action was taken against them. So he further alleges that these were close friends of president of SPC. So SPC is Student Placement Committee, right? It consists of just students, does not involve the teachers. Okay. Now maybe that's a bias. Okay, if they are friends of that person, so that could be a bias. He stated that somebody has deliberately manipulated his grades in the biodata. Okay, this allegation confused the members and it was decided to adjourn the meeting. Vidya was to decide on next course of action. The meeting was ended because they now got some new facts that other students have also done the same. Okay, so here's the question. The question says that if you were Vidya, what in your opinion would be the most appropriate action? Now you are Vidya, right? The chairman of the faculty academic committee. What action would you take? So these are five actions, right? So one involves like taking multiple actions. So first is debar Biswajit and the president of SPC from the placement process as they have failed to uphold the rules of the SPC. Suspend Biswajit and the president of SPC. Constitute a fact-finding committee to investigate the matter and ask them to submit a report to you within a week's time. Apprise the corporate recruiters to the situation and assure them that corrective actions will be taken. Both options C and D. Now, at times, the questions can be very tricky, okay, which even the best of the people they debate about that. And you will face this thing in the examination also, that most people will believe that, yes, this is the right answer, but when the official key releases, right, the answer might be different. So you understood the problem, right? What should be the proper course of action in this? Okay, so at times you have to think of other things also. Okay, so we'll discuss this, right? What was the official answer given, right? This was a past year question. What was the official answer and why? Okay, so most of you are saying E as the answer, right? Some of you are saying C also, right? So we'll discuss that which is the correct answer and why. So first of all, right, see, this is something B bar, Vishwajit and the present. So this is a harsh action. Okay. Now, as these are all allegations, right? If you see the previous slide, it says that it was alleged, right? So it is not a conclusive thing, right? There was just allegation. Okay. Now this is a harsh action. Okay, this is a harsh action. We avoid that generally. Suspend Vishwajit and the president of SPC, again something on the harsh lines. If you see C, D, and E, I mean, basically you have to see whether it is C, D, or both of these. So C says constitute a fact findings committee to investigate the matter, right? Of course, you have to investigate the matter. So win-win situation, I mean a collaborative action, right? And you are checking the findings because there are two different allegations, right? So people saying that others are also doing it, right? And Vishwajit has also been alleged for that, right? So of course, this is a good solution to carry out, right? So check out the findings, what has actually happened, right? There might be false allegations also against Vishwajit, or maybe Vishwajit might have made false allegation against SPC, right? So it's a good action to take. Apprise the corporate recruiters of the situation and assure them that corrective actions will be taken, right? Now, why should we select? Now this is a good thing to do. It's a good thing to do because you are being honest and ethical in that. But see, it has not been proven yet, right? These are just allegations, right? Secondly, like since these are just allegations, you do not want to hamper your image of your institute, right? So these are like if those things have been figured out, right? If you found that yes, these were the things, then yes, you can go for this. We have just had allegations, right? There is no proof that this thing has happened, right? So this is the correct course of action. At this stage, this is the correct course of action. If nothing has been found out, if things have been found out, maybe in that stage you can go for this and tell the corporate that this thing has happened, so we will do something afresh. Okay. All right. Next question. It says that it was found that a large section of the students have been indulging in such practices. Right. So an investigation was done and it was found that many students were doing such things. Right. Unfortunately, the HR management of a much coveted campus recruiter who is an alumnus of the college came to know about this. Now, an HR recruiter has come to know about this, that this has happened. Right? Considering yourself in the position of that HR manager, what would be your reaction? Now you are the HR manager, you have to come to know that many students have uh, done those unfair practice of increasing their marks. So what will you do in that scenario? No, these are typically tough questions, right? That's what I said, that you have to keep certain things in mind. So one thing is for sure that you can, right, stop any further recruitment because you know that okay, this have right. So one thing, like people could stop also, right? Maybe there could be a person who will say, and generally it happens, right? Most of the times people do this, right? They will stop. They will say, "Ki nahi, hame nahi lena," right? That's the most common thing that happens, but that's not the best decision. Okay, people do not take the best decisions, but that is generally what happens, right? Suppose you are not studying decision making, right? You are not reading these rules कि ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. What would you do? ठीक है, एक normal आदमी से पूछता है, right? You do not know what is decision making. What would be your first reaction? नहीं, हमें नहीं लेना, हमको दूसरे. That's what happens in reality also, right? Like when you go to B schools, you will understand this process, right? If they come to know about something wrong, malpractice happening in that institute, they will say no, and they will go to some other institute because there are plenty of people. Okay, but this is a harsh action, right? So try to avoid harsh actions, because if you've seen the past year the papers, and they release the responses also, right? In the response sheet, whatever they give the answers, they always exclude harsh options, right? So this is a harsh option, although it is a natural thing that people will do, but this is harsh, right? So talk to your contact in the college and try to find out the truth, right? The truth has already been known. Okay, ask, do not change anything. Now this is passive, so this is extremes, right? This is harsh, right? And this is a passive action, so we have to avoid these two. Okay, passive में इसमें कुछ नहीं करना है, चुपचाप ले लो, right? Ask the college to send a fresh set of biodata, as you wanted verified grades of the students, and ask the SPC to resend the details of the shortlisted students, including their verified grades, right? So you know that these have been like students have been caught, right? So it is saying the large section, so not all students have been caught, right? Maybe you get a fresh set of people, right? So you will by getting these fresh set, you might be able to get some relevant people, right? So these, like, so it's a like a win-win thing, right? So those who involved in unfair practices, they are not getting the job. On the other hand, the people who were who had not applied were given a chance, right? So collaborative action. ठीक है, जिसने गलत किया, right, they are not given a second chance, right? So you are not getting the details of those students again, you are taking details of fresh students. So it is basically a win-win situation, right? So those who are involved, those students who are involved in unfair practices, they are not given any second chance. So on the other hand, the students whose CVs had not been received now get a chance, right? So it's a win-win scenario. So that's why generally they pick such options as the answers, right? Which is a win-win scenario, collaborative action. So those kind of options should be chosen. Okay, so next question says, as a potential entrant, you are having an informal Facebook chat with one of the college seniors. You wanted to know about the pay packages of the graduating students. The student replied that one will be able to understand this only after joining the college. He did not reveal any information, but suggested that it is not very difficult to get a high salary job as you have already started networking. He also cautioned that you should not believe in any rumors and you should directly contact the student body for any further information. What will be your most appropriate choice for seeking further information about placements? So there is a student who wants to get into that institute. He wants to have the knowledge about the placements, right? So you would be also targeting some institutes. You will also want to know the placement statistics, right? And he very well said that you should not go by any rumors, right? He does not reveal any information. He did not tell that okay, these are the pay packages and all, right? He just said that you can get good pay packages from this institute. It's a reputable institute. Okay. So what should be the correct course of action? In this case, the answer is given in the almost given in the question itself. So first option says this conversation will increase your interest and you will network more, right? So see, it is like networking does not help you get a high salary job, right? So I mean, just networking with people will not help you. Okay. So you wanted to know, the problem here is the person wants to know the placement statistics. right? So you want to know the pay packages, right? So networking will increase your chances. That looks somewhere irrelevant, right? So that looks somewhere irrelevant. Okay. You will contact the college authorities to get more insights about the placement process. You will start networking with the HR manager. So that is like something, right? You are not even in the college, right? You are starting networking with HR. So that is obviously wrong. And you will contact the president of SPC. You will contact other Facebook friends to find out about the placement activities, right? So he said that you should not believe in any rumors, right? So of course, if you contact other Facebook friends, right, they might not be even knowing about the college, right? So that means that this will not give you a correct information. Now, out of these two, which will give you the better information? College authorities or the president of SPC? So if you see this, like he has mentioned here that you should directly contact the student body, right? For further any further information, right? You should directly contact the student body. So student body is SPC, right? Student Placement Committee. Okay, so college authorities are basically the teachers and all, they supervise the activities, right? But who is conducting them? The student placement committee. And he's also saying that you should directly contact the student body. Student body consists of this SPC, right? This is the SPC. So student placement committee. So the person will try to contact that, right? And get an idea about those things, right? So student body, it is already mentioned here. So you will contact SPC. So it was straightforward. It was already given in the passage. Okay. All right. Our next question says that Vidya found out that there were many such cases of grade inflation. Right? A lot of students inflated the grades. She was giving final touches to the report when her attention was diverted by a phone call on her personal cell phone. It was from an unlisted number. The caller conveyed to her that it will be in her interest as well as in the interest of the college if the report is not presented to the director. Okay, so it was a sort of threat call, right? So it says that it should be uh, it should be good in our interest as well as the director. The caller also told her that these findings will change nothing, only result in bad publicity of the college. Okay, so uh, do not publish this report. The caller identified himself as a well-wisher of the college before hanging up. Consider yourself in Vidya's position and choose an appropriate decision from the following choices. Right. So he it's a sort of call. He says that please do not report this to the director. Right. So it will be not in terms of good for the college. Right. Your name would be the college bad publicity of the college. It will lead to. Right? Contacting directly with the president, right? So see the president, so that SPC, the student body consists of, right? So obviously, who will you contact in the student body, right? So he just want to know about the placement statistics, right? How is the, I mean, how are the placements and all, right? He may not be revealing everything, but giving more relevant information. Now, in this case, first thing is passive. Okay, so if you disregard the phone call, so that is being passive, right? You just got frightened, and that is understand the implications of the phone call and apply for a leave. Now, that is also passive, right? So these two suggest that you are scared of the phone call, right? I mean, this is ignoring being passive, and this is being that you got scared of that and you just stopped, right? Call up the director, tell him about the phone call, and excuse yourself from the responsibility. So you do not have to go away from the responsibility. It's your responsibility that you have to publish this report, right? So you have to take action. So these three are saying that you do not have to take any action. You just like you back out from the responsibility that you have. Okay. Talk to the director and seek his opinion, and constitute a different committee to investigate a phone call and carry on with your other activities. Now, these are some questions wherein, I mean, it's very close call between two options. Right? It's a very close call. Okay, three you can eliminate. Okay, because what is happening in this, you are being passive in these things, right? You are not, you are going away, and you have to be ethical also, right? So something bad has happened, yes, you have to publish that report to the director. Okay, now out of these two, it looks quite close, right? Very difficult to choose between. Okay, right, talking to the director and seek his opinion, constitute a different committee to investigate the phone call and carry on with your other activities, right? Now, if you talk about these two, which one will you choose? So on certain grounds, right? So it is just talking to a director and seeking his opinion, right? Maybe he might initiate some action, he might not. Okay, but if you look at this option, in this case, some action is being taken, right? You are already constituting a committee to investigate the phone call, right? So now you are taking some action, right? So you are investigating that, and also you are carrying out with your other activities. I mean, you are finishing the report, right? So this is a better choice, because in this you are doing I mean, you are going with an action. In this case, you might be going with an action, you might not be going with an action. Okay, it was a random call. No, no, no. I mean, it was, yes, it was a random call, but it should be also figured out, right? Who is that caller, right? I mean, uh, you should be taking it, because if someone is giving a call on that issue, right, might be some influential person or someone, right? So that should be investigated, right? Who is that person? Maybe some college student itself, or some, maybe some influential person from outside, right? Who is that? Maybe it might be a prank call by a student, right? So that will be that you should investigate on, right? So generally you have to take some action. So this involves action. It is also, you do not know the result, right? What will happen, right? Maybe right, him, but in this you are certain that you are doing this activity. Okay, all right. So let's look at the next passage. Okay, so it says that the disciplinary committee of national political party is meeting today to decide the future of two of their party members. Okay, Mr. Loyal and his son, Mr. Prodigal. Mr. Prodigal is the prime accused in the brutal murder of Mr. Victim, and opposition party leader. Now, see, again, accused, right? Accused does not mean that it is, I mean, it has not been proven, right? So, Mr. Prodigal is in police custody, and his appeal for bail has got rejected. Mr. Loyal claims that his son is innocent, and Mr. Victim's death was the result of an internal rivalry in the opposition party. Though Mr. Loyal is not accused in this case, his weakness for his son is well known. The media is blaming him for influencing key witnesses to protect his son. Severe criticism in this father-son duo, both by the media and some social activists, is damaging the image of the party. However, Mr. Loyal has significant followers within the party and is considered as an asset to the party. Any harsh decision against Mr. Loyal would adversely affect the future of NPP and could even lead to a split in the party. This would benefit the opposition. Okay, so it says that right. So there are two members in the party. Mr. Loyal, he's a senior member of the party, and he's quite influential as well. I mean, he's been a key member in the party, and there is a his son, Mr. Prodigal. He has been accused of murdering the opposition party leader. Okay, so now the company is the party is in a dilemma that whether they should, what action should they take, because this is ruining the image of the party. Okay, because this person is trying to save his son, right? And people and media claim that, right, this will hamper the image of the party. Okay, so now we will see the questions, and based on that we will take decisions. Okay, uh, in these type of situations, should we skip the question? Yes, you should skip the questions. Like, see, that's why, I mean, you should not be uh, because many times we think that yes, this is the right answer, but when they present the answers, the answers are different. Okay, so when you find very, very slippery options, yes, you can avoid such questions. Okay, right. So now this in this scenario, what is happening is there is Mr. Loyal and his son, Mr. Prodigal, right? He is accused of murder of his of other political party leader. Okay. Now the first thing is which of the following actions would adversely affect both NPP and Mr. Loyal the most, right? So the action which will adverse for both NPP and Mr. Loyal, something which will go against both of them. Now you understand what is the importance of Mr. Loyal in the party? Mr. Loyal is a quite a popular face in the party, right? He has the ability to win elections. It is stated here, right? So Mr. Loyal has significant followers within the party, right? So he's a key player. He's an important leader in the party. He's not something like a normal one, right? So he's an important member of the party. Okay, so removing him could go against the party also. So which will adversely affect both the party and Mr. Loyal. So this is an easy one. So if you see, take no action, right? If you do not take no action, what will happen is, right? It should be loyal, not local, right? So if you do not take anything, right? So it might hamper the party, but it will not affect him, right? So it means that. So there are two things, right? Party and Mr. Loyal. Okay. So in the first option, it says that party image will go down. Mr. Loyal will not happen anything to him, right? So that is we have to find that both it will affect negatively. Okay. Suspend Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect. Right. Prodigal को suspend कर देंगे. Right. So party की like party will be a positive thing. Right. Party will have a positive thing. This will have a negative thing. Right. I mean, and or anyway you can see it is not it is prodigal, not loyal. Right. It may not affect him. Right. Now, if you expel Mr. Loyal from the party with immediate effect, you are expelling, right? In this case, it is a very harsh thing. So when you expel him, party will have a negative thing because like he's a key player. Okay, so it's like मान लो कोई like what happened to Australia, right? When they removed Steve Smith and David Warner, right? So they were the key players, and yes, that was a fair decision because they were caught in that activity, right? In that ball tampering case, if you remember, they were caught in that case. So it was an ethical decision, the correct decision. But what happened to the team, right? The team suddenly became weak because they were key players. Now, similarly, if you remove this person, right, so it will impact both of them, right? He will be removed from the party, and also this will be a negative thing, right? So that looks to be the option. Okay, ban Mr. Loyal from entering party premises till completion of the proceedings, right? For some time it will be, but it is not a long thing, right? If he comes back, so then things will be fine, right? Anyway, like that is short term, right? It's a long term impact. Initiate an internal inquiry to find the truth, right? Internal inquiry not affecting negatively. Okay, so it is asking which of the following adversely affect, right? It is not asking the thing which is positive, right? It is asking which will make things negative for both of them. So that is this is the thing, right? So it will affect both of them negatively, right? He will lose his position. It will affect his political career and the party also. Since he's a key person in the party will also suffer due to this. Okay. Next question. At the disciplinary committee meeting, members came up with the following suggestions. Which of the following suggestions would harm the party the least? Okay, so read the suggestions and I will give you the options. Okay, or I'll see the options and tell them. Okay, now there is just one option, I guess, in this. Sometimes you have questions when you have to rate them. So only one, right? So you have to find the least harmful decision. So see, as I said that in many of the cases you have to remove the harsh options. I mean the extreme options. Okay. So see this, maintain status quo. Status quo means like whatever is happening, you continue with that. Now this is being passive. Okay, you are not taking any action, and suspend both of them, right? So it is like, and like it's like very harsh action, and of course that would harm the party, right? Because if Mr. Loyal goes away from the party, that is going to affect the party negatively. Okay, now let us consider the options. Expel Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect to maintain party's clean image, right? One is, so see there are two persons, Loyal and Prodigal, right? So he is the accused, right? This is the accused, this is the key player. Okay, so B says that remove him from the party. Okay, to maintain the clean image. Initiate an internal inquiry to find the truth. Okay, fine, like a win-win situation kind of thing. Suspend Mr. Prodigal from the party with immediate effect, but announce that he will be taken back if the court declares him innocent. Okay. Now see this. What is the difference between expelling and suspending? Expel is like you remove him permanently, right? Or for a long duration. Okay, expel करना होता है निकाल देना, right? You say कि we will remove him from the party, right? So it is on a harsher side. Suspend is like till the inquiry is there, right? Till the inquiry is there, he will be away from the party, and you are saying that announce that he will be taken back if the court declares him innocent. Okay, so now out of C and D, see this is going to be a harsh action, slightly harsh. Okay, this is a softer action. Now, between C and D, right? See, in this case, you are doing an internal inquiry. Okay, एक तरह से आप like you are, he is just an accused, right? He is not been like he's just an accused, right? So one thing is this, second thing is this. Now, in this case, it involves more things. ठीक, देखो दो ऑप्शन में जिसमें ज्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन, जैसे उसमें था टॉक टू डायरेक्टर था और दूसरा ऑप्शन था कि टेक दिस एक्शन, राइट? सो टेक दिस एक्शन उसमें ज्यादा पॉइंट्स दिए थे, राइट? सो which gives you more clarity. Now in this case you do an internal inquiry, that is fine. Now in this case you are suspending, ठीक है, you are saying that okay he will be suspended, right? So that is fine, so that gives you a clean image. Okay, party को अच्छी image मिल जाएगी. Yes, they removed that person because he was an accused. Okay, at the same time announce that he will be taken back if the court declares him innocent, right? If he is innocent, right, you will take him back also, right? So you are not taking any very harsh action, but yes, if like if he's proven guilty, so then of course he will be removed from the party. So it is like a more collaborative, you would say that more detailed action. Okay, in this case you are just talking about that internal inquiry बिठाएंगे. In this case you are saying that अभी के लिए हटा देते हैं, right? If he is proven innocent he will be back, right? And if he is proven guilty you will remove him, right? So that's a better ethical action also. You are doing an ethically correct thing also because he's been accused. For time being you are suspending him. And who are you suspending? You are suspending Mr. Prodigal, not Mr. Loyal, right? So this is your key player, right? So you're removing him for the time being, and if he's proven innocent, he will be back. If he's proven guilty, then you will remove him. So that is clean image for the party, okay, and an appropriate action against him. Okay, so whichever option gives you more clarity, right? So it gives you, okay, internal inquiry, fine. In this case, they have given you the proper action plan also, right? They've said that remove him for a time being, and if he turns out to be innocent, you bring him back. Okay, so always choose that one. Okay, the next question says that Mr. Opportunist, a veteran member of NPP, stakes his claims to be nominated as an NPP candidate in the upcoming election. Mr. Opportunist presented the following arguments in favor of his candidature to the NPP Executive Committee. There's a person, right? So he's going to have this, right? So he has given 5 points for his candidature, right? So he wants to become the uh, uh, the uh, the main face of the party. Okay. Mr. Loyal's candidature in the upcoming election will adversely impact NPP's chances, hence the party should not nominate him. So he's saying that Mr. Loyal has bad image right now, so party should not nominate him. Second is the party should call a press conference to disown Mr. Loyal. This would enhance the party's image. Okay. The party would not be able to take any strong disciplinary action against Mr. Loyal if he gets re-elected. I have a lot of goodwill and significant followers in the constituency. None of my close relatives are into politics. Okay. So these are the 5 points, 5 arguments given by him. So let us look at the question. The question says which of the following combinations would best strengthen the claim of Mr. Opportunist. Okay, 1314 233545. Okay, which of the following will best improve the his candidature? 3 5 and that's 3 5 and 4 5. So this person claims that like he is a better candidate, giving some reasons. Okay, so you have to tell that which is the reason that uh, that is that is most likely increasing his candidature. So first he says is Mr. Loyal's candidature in the upcoming election will adversely impact NPP's chances. So they should not nominate him, right? So see, like Mr. Loyal is the key face, right? So if they try to remove Mr. Loyal, so he would get a chance, right? So he would get that opportunity. So that would be one case. Okay, may not be conclusive. Let's see other options. The party should call a press conference to disown Mr. Loyal. This would enhance the party's image, right? See, this would enhance the party's image, but not going in favor of Mr. Opportunist, right? Now, if you see this, like if you directly read this point, okay. So fourth point, he has a lot of goodwill and significant followers in the constituency. So this is a strong case in favor of his candidature, right? So fourth include hona hi chahiye, right? Even if you uh, do not get anything, so fourth hona hi chahiye. So you can eliminate three options. Okay, fourth तो पक्का होना चाहिए because he is also an influential person in his constituency and has good followers, right? Now out of 5 and 1, none of my close relatives are into active politics. This is something a vague argument, right? But this looks to be a stronger one, right? Wherein it says that like loyal's candidature. So अगर loyal का candidature right? So if loyal is not nominated, so obviously he has a chance, right? So those things make his candidature strong, right? So that is 1 and 4. Okay, all right. The disciplinary committee has decided to suspend Mr. Loyal from the party because they felt he was influencing the judicial process. Okay, so they have decided to suspend Mr. Loyal. However, Mr. Loyal feels that the committee is biased and he is being framed. So he is not happy with that. Now, election has been announced. The last time Mr. Loyal had won with a majority on account of his good work, right? So he had won with majority. And which of the following options is most likely to resurrect Mr. Loyal's immediate political career? So here are 5 options given, and you have to tell that which of these will re-establish his political career immediately. So first is the main opposition party has invited Mr. Loyal to join the party and contest the election. Chances of winning is high. Not participating in the campaign and instructing his followers to stay away from the campaigning process. So this is a passive action, right? Of course, that is not going to impact him, right? So ये तो negative हो गया ना, right? If he does not say, वो कहता है कि चलो मैं election ही नहीं लड़ता हूँ. We are given that he has to have the uh, have some action. Okay, ask his followers to support the NPP nominated candidate and display his loyalty to NPP. So again, something against him, right? It is not helping him. It is helping the other candidate. Okay, Mr. Loyal should contest as an independent candidate, but because of a split in votes, his chances of winning would be low. ठीक है, यहाँ पे रीजन भी दे रखा है. अगर रीजन नहीं भी दिया होता, right? So you know that like if a person goes in an independent candidate, it is difficult to win, right? So it is also given कि negative ही दे ही रखा है. So obviously you will reject it, right? Because of chances is winning is low. So obviously अब यहाँ पे directly दिया chances of winning is high, right? So it is positive in favor of this. But let us evaluate other options also, right? So that is how you should be seeing other options also. Influence the nomination process through his followers with NPP to get one of his close associates nominated. How is it his close associate is getting nominated, right? He's not getting any benefit out of it. So obviously this is something that this is going to have an immediate impact, right? Easy one, right? So like if he goes to the his popular phase, he goes to the opposition party and chance of winning is high is also given, right? So obviously that will give a boost to his political career, right? I mean, all of a sudden he will just become a star at some other place, isn't it? Many times political leaders do that, change the party. Popular leaders, they change the party and maybe due to some conflict and they still manage to win from that party. Okay, so that is the action that he will take. All right, so let's do the next set. It says that Indian Institute of Research is a government established body to promote research. In addition to helping in policy making, it also provides free online access to all the articles to the public. It has a mission of publishing high quality research articles. Till 2010, the publication of articles was very slow because there was no incentive for researchers to publish. Okay, so till 2010, the publish rate was slow because the publishers had no incentive and they stuck to the mandatory one article a year. Researchers said कि एक mandatory होता है वो कर लेते हैं और extra नहीं करेंगे, right? Most of the researchers engaged in offering consultancy and earned extra income, right? So they found some other sources to earn money, okay, because they were not getting any recognition for it, right? Now, since its inception, the institute was considered the best place for cutting edge research. The new director of the institute was not happy with the work done by researchers in silo and came out with a new research policy in 2013 to increase research output and improve collaboration among researchers. So a new director was appointed. So what he decided that extra benefits would be offered to researchers with the new publications. So if you publish more research, you will be given extra benefits. Okay. Now, as a result, the number of research articles increased fourfold in 2014. Okay. So they started getting incentive. People started publishing more articles. Okay. At the 2015 annual audit, an objection was raised against the new benefits scheme. Right. So objection was raised. Auditors were not happy with the increased expense towards remuneration for researchers. So auditors said that they showed displeasure against increased pay of these researchers. Further, the government opined that the publication was itself a reward and hence researchers need not be paid nothing extra. So government gave a slightly vague reason that that the publication itself was a reward, right? So no monetary reward should be given apart from that, right? So if someone's publication, like someone's research is being published, then that itself is an honor. Okay. The director tried to defend his policy, but the response from the government was not encouraging. So government said, no, no, we are not happy with this policy. The question is, the following facts were observed by an analytics team hired by the government to study the extant situation. So some analytics team observed this thing, right, these things, and which of the following options would justify the government's intention to discontinue the scheme? Right, the government wants to discontinue the scheme. Okay, which of the following will justify the government's intention? Now you have to think in favor of government. Okay, so sometimes it is not always like it could be two-sided thing, right? They might ask you that which action will be the best. They might ask me the which action would be the most harmful. जैसे एक question में पूछा था ना. So they can ask you either direction. So it is not always that like they will ask you from one point of view. So here they have asked you the government's point of view, that which of these findings will justify the government's action. So first says there was a fourfold increase in the number of researchers leaving the organization in 2014. Right. It talks about attrition. It's a government क्या कह रही है? Government कह रही है कि ज़्यादा पैसा नहीं देना है. Right. We do not want to give that extra money. Okay. So increase in the number of researchers leaving the organization. Right. So that is attrition. It has nothing to do with that reward thing. Right. So looks not related exactly. Okay, a researcher died while on duty. I mean, he could have died of any of the things, right? You're not given anything, right? How did he die, and has this anything to do with that? Right? We are not given that the reason. So obviously, this is a very vague thing, right? So you can eliminate options that contain two. Okay. अभी तो 4 only होगा, 3 and 4 होगा. Right? The quality of articles published declined substantially. Right? What is the government saying? The government is saying that uh, right, they are against giving that thing, your extra money, right? अब क्वालिटी उनको पैसा भी मिल रहा है, क्वालिटी भी गिर गई, right? क्वालिटी भी गिर गई, पैसा भी मिल रहा है, right? So that should be an action, right? This is a justification. Fourth says the average number of people accessing an article decreased by 2%. Right, accessing an article, very minute decrease, right? 2% hardly, या उससे कुछ बहुत ड्रास्टिक चेंज नहीं हो रहा है, राइट? क्वालिटी डिक्रीज हो रही है, दैट इज अ बिगर प्रॉब्लम, राइट? जस्ट डिक्रीजिंग ऑफ 2% ऑफ people accessing an article, not much change, right? So that is not something that greatly impacts it, right? So the answer is 3 only. It is not something very significant. 2% article readership decrease, not a big thing, but quality is decreased, right? Quality declined, right? So that is something a major concern. They are paying more to these researchers. Quality is going down, right? So of course that is something a matter of concern. Okay, so they will try to discontinue. Okay. The director still wanted to persuade the government to review its stand. He had framed the following arguments. So he had framed 3 arguments to convince the government, and most famous researchers in the world are also the highest paid. Right? American Institute of Research gives extra benefits to its scientists. This year's highest paid researcher had won the Nobel Prize last year. So considering the government to be reasonable, the government is reasonable, which of the following options is unlikely to convince the government? He presented 3 arguments. Which of these will not convince the government? The government is reasonable. and the government is against, when the government wants to reduce that expense, right? The government directly stated that the this thing uh, right, that publication itself is an honor and all those things. They're given that statement. Okay, so there should be strong point to convince them. So first says most famous researchers in the world are also the highest paid. So most famous researchers are highest paid. That does not mean that right, all of them are right. So like the highest paid people are always famous. That is, I mean, if you say that, like it's like syllogism, right? So famous researchers are also highest paid. That if you take the reverse thing, that giving high pay does not justify that the researchers will be good. Okay, so that is, and government is against that thing, right? So one will not convince them. American Institute of Research gives extra benefits to its scientists, right? So it is in America, right? So what does that do? I mean, something might be working there, right? Maybe they have a higher budget for it, right? They it is in Indian government might not have high budget for it, right? So you cannot compare with that. Okay. This year's highest paid researcher had won the Nobel Prize last year. He was paid high this year. Maybe he won the Nobel Prize previously. Now he's the, like he's highest paid. Right? Last year पहले पिछले साल जीता, इस साल उसे ज्यादा देगा. पहले Nobel Prize मिला, बाद में पे ज्यादा मिली. Right? So the government will not be convinced by any of these pointers. Okay, the government is already against paying them high, right? And these do not give a very strong conviction to the government. Okay. All right. So the director wanted to promote good decision making at Indian Institute of Research. A few trusted colleagues offered the following suggestions. Right. So directed some things were given, that auditors need not be allowed to object to extra benefit scheme. Okay. Auditors need not pinpoint sudden increase in expenditure. Auditors need not be consulted before taking any policy level decision. Which of the following combination of options should the director agree the most with? Right. So something that like so some colleagues offered him certain suggestions. So these are the three suggestions. Which of these will the director agree with? So see, what are the auditor's job, right? Auditor's job is to see the financial expenditure, right? So they should not be objecting to like any. So this is something that is against. Okay, so they should point. I mean, they have to pinpoint these, right? Sudden increase in expenditure. That is auditor's role. ठीक है, कुछ एकदम से खर्चा बढ़ गया. So of course this will they will object to this, but they will not object to policy level decision or that benefit scheme, right? So 1 and 3 they will not object to, right? They need not be allowed to object to this, right? Yes, if there is sudden increase, yes, they are allowed because auditor's role is there. Okay, so that is why 1 and 3 will be the correct combination. बिकॉज ऑडिटर्स ऑफ कोर्स देयर उनका काम होता है बस पैसे का देखना कि राइट अचानक से पैसे नहीं बढ़ने चाहिए एंड ऑल, राइट. कोई भी पॉलिसी या कोई स्ट्रैटेजिक डिसीजन हो रहा है, दैट इज नॉट नन ऑफ देयर कंसर्न, राइट. So that the government will take action on that, but not the auditors. Auditors will just see that if the expenses are shooting up. All right. So now this is an interesting set, right? I'm sure some of you must have seen this also, right? So it is like very logical one and easy one also. It says a university coach was asked to select teams in three sports: shooting, cricket, batsman only, and snakes and ladder. Right. So there were three games. And honest and keen observer, head boy of the school, informed the coach that he had observed 100 students playing the three games: shooting, cricket, and snakes and ladder. In shooting, all the students were given 100 chances to hit a target. In cricket, a batsman faced a maximum of 100 balls provided he did not get out. Right? So person will play 100 balls only if he did not get out. If he gets out, right, he will not play. In snakes and ladder, every student could play 100 matches, one each with the other students and one against a computer. Right? So every student played 100 matches. In shooting, a player got 1 point for hitting the target and 0 point for missing the target. In cricket, a batsman got 1 point for hitting the ball and 0 point for missing it. In snakes and ladder, a person got 1 point for winning the game and zero for losing. To the coach's utter surprise, the distribution of points across all three games was same. Okay, so which is given here. So three sports were there, right? So they had to select team for three people, three categories: snakes and ladder, shooting, and cricket. Okay, and in cricket they had to play. Like they were given 100 balls, right? So if you play 100 balls, so like if you do not get out, you play till then. Okay, and if you hit a ball, you score a run and so on. Okay, and in shooting you have to hit 100 targets, and in snake and ladder you have to win the match. But this was observed that in all three sports they got exactly the same distribution. That was something very interesting. And the coach has to select a team of 11 in each. Okay. So here's the first question, that which of the following is the best way to select the snakes and ladder team? ठीक है, snakes and ladder team कैसे select करें? The coach must select all students between 80 and 99. The coach must select both students between 90 and 99. The coach must select at least 6 students between 40 and 59. The coach must not select students between 0 and 9. The coach can ignore the data in the table and randomly pick any 11 players. Right, so you have to select a player team of 11 players. बहुत आसान सा क्वेश्चन है, लॉजिक लगाना है. How should he select the team? इलेवन प्लेयर सेलेक्ट करने, फर्स्ट के अकॉर्डिंग कह रहा है 80 19, मतलब ये लोग सेलेक्ट कर लेने चाहिए. सेकंड ऑप्शन कह रहा है कि इन दोनों को तो कलेक्ट करना ही चाहिए, बाकी कहीं से भी ले लो. थर्ड कह रहा है कि ये बीच वालों को भी चांस देना चाहिए, यहाँ से 6 ले लो. या फोर्थ कह रहा है कि ये स्टूडेंट्स नहीं सेलेक्ट करने, राइट. फिफ्थ कह रहा है कि लाइक इग्नोर द डेटा एंड रैंडमली पिक एनी 11 प्लेयर्स. See, it's a very very simple question, right? बाकी सब ऑप्शंस देखो, फिर भी चलो तुम बी सी और डी को तो कैंसिल कर सकते हो, ए और डी में कंफ्यूजन हो रहा है, राइट. वेरी सिंपल थिंग, दैट इग्नोर द डेटा. व्हाई? बिकॉज इट इज नॉट अ स्किल बेस्ड गेम, राइट. इट इज नॉट अ स्किल बेस्ड गेम. स्नेक्स एंड लैडर्स क्या है? इट इज अ लक बेस्ड गेम. ठीक है, लक की बात है, राइट. जिसके ठीक है आगे नंबर्स आ गए, राइट. सो यू कैन रैंडमली सेलेक्ट प्लेयर्स, राइट. इट इज नॉट सम स्किल बेस्ड थिंग, राइट. किसी की किस्मत चल गई, उसने जीत लिया. ठीक है, so that is not a, I mean, this data is useless. Okay, snakes and ladder is what, I mean, it's just, it does not require any skill, right? So obviously just ignore the data and select randomly. Okay, which of the following options is the best way to selecting the shooting team? You do not need any skill or strategy to win the game, right? You just have to throw the dice. Like if it works, it works, right? So there is no point in looking at the data. Data is not going to help in anything. Now you have to select the shooting team. Similar type of options. Okay, 18 to 99, फिर वही ऑप्शन दे रहा है कि क्या कहते हैं, ये दो कैटेगरी की यू हैव टू सेलेक्ट 11 प्लेयर्स। सो एक ऑप्शन दे रहा है कि ये दोनों सेलेक्ट कर लो, दूसरे में कह रहा है ये दो तो लो, बाकी कहीं से भी ले लो, ठीक है। सो फिर ये कह रहा है बीच वाले स्टूडेंट्स ले लो, ठीक है। फिर ये कह रहा है कि यहाँ से यहाँ तक नहीं लेने, 40 से 89 तक नहीं लेने, पता नहीं क्यों, राइट। एंड देन कोच कैन पिक एनी रैंडम प्लेयर्स, राइट। नाउ स्टेक्स एंड लैडर इज नॉट अ स्किल बेस्ड गेम, बट शूटिंग इज अ स्किल बेस्ड गेम, ठीक है। शूटिंग क्या है, स्किल बेस्ड, एंड यू हैव टेकन इनफ सैंपल, 100 शॉट्स। ऐसा भी नहीं कि 5 बार मारने का, 5 बार में किस्मत हो सकती है, ठीक है। 5 बार में हो सकता है कि किसी की एक भी खराब चला गया, राइट। सो यू हैव just 5 chances, but if you are taking 100 chances, right, it's a fair sample, good sample. So obviously one who is hitting 80 more than 80 वो ऐसे बेवकूफ तो होगा नहीं, right? So obviously here it is a skill based game, so you will select all people in this range. It's a purely skill, ठीक है। इन द प्रीवियस गेम इट वाज लक, कोई भी जीत सकता है, ठीक है। इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी कि कोई अच्छा खेलता है, सांप सीढ़ी में कौन अच्छा खेलता है, ठीक है। लूडो में फिर भी दिमाग लगाना होता है, ठीक है, हाँ ये चार चीजें, सांप सीढ़ी में एक ही गोटी होती है, ठीक है। बट शूटिंग इज प्योरली स्किल बेस्ड, राइट। सो ऑब्वियसली इट्स अ फेयर सैंपल, 100 चांस दिए, 100 चांस में जो अच्छा स्कोर करेंगे यू सेलेक्ट देम, व्हाई डू यू नॉट सेलेक्ट दीज, राइट। ओके, now you have to tell the correct statement for picking the cricket team. Okay, if you read the instructions properly, right, answer this इसमें ये tricky question था, ठीक है। तो क्रिकेट टीम पिक करने का कैसे होगा, right? The coach should never select players in the range 0 to 9. Coach should never select players in this range, should never select this 80 to 99, none of the above. People who watch cricket will also can tell this, right. At the same time, uh, right, if you read the instruction properly you would be able to answer this, okay. So what did it say? Now let's go over to the instructions to just understand the question better, okay. So it said that like cricket में क्या था, shooting में सबको hit करने थे। In cricket a batsman fails the maximum 100 balls provided he did not get out, अगर आउट नहीं हुआ तभी खेलेगा, ठीक है। अगर आउट हो गया तो फिर उसका स्कोर वहीं पे बंद हो जाएगा, राइट। नाउ although cricket is also skill based, but a student can get out, राइट। अब मान लो, ठीक है, वर्ल्ड कप का फाइनल चल रहा है, ठीक है, विराट कोहली फेल हो जाता है, राइट। विराट कोहली इज नॉट एबल टू स्कोर वेल, राइट। इट हैपेंड इन 2015 सेमीफाइनल, 2019 सेमीफाइनल। Will you say कि Virat Kohli is not a great player? Right? Sachin Tendulkar never did well in big matches. Right? Very rarely he did well in big matches. But I mean, it's like it is clearly given. If he did not get out, then only his score will be helped. कोई out हो गया, ठीक है। So it is not the correct way to choose it, right? Maybe you were given that like multiple matches करा देते या कुछ वो उस तरह का गेम करा रखा है, ठीक है। Or you would look at average, so that would be a better thing, right? So none of the above is the answer, right? You cannot conclude on this thing because a player might get out early, maybe that is a good player but he got out, right? It just takes one ball to get out, okay. So that is why you cannot select based on this. So this was a good logical question, okay. Shooting of course is a skill based thing, okay. So you will select on the basis of these scores, okay. In snakes and ladder you will ignore the data because irrelevant. Cricket, maybe this data is good but not the conclusive thing because right as per the rules, अगर कुछ rules ऐसे होते हैं कि हाँ ठीक है इससे justify होता, because maybe this person who got out between 0 and 9 was the best player, right? Maybe he just got out and could not score, okay. So the condition made it think that you will not select them, okay. All right, so let's have one more set, right. So sure you are enjoying this session, right? So understanding that how do we figure out answers in different cases, and at times the answer options are quite close, and it is advisable to skip them. Okay, sometimes like you can easily detect them, sometimes you find them quite close, just skip them. All right, so it's from ZAT 2018. It says that Madhuri Apte, a busy professional, rents out her studio apartment located in South Mumbai. Since she stays 3 hours away from the studio apartment, she uses a networked digital lock to monitor the property remotely. Okay, so she has a digital lock there. Each customer gets a temporary and unique access code for the digital lock that enables them to enter the studio apartment for the duration of stay. Okay, so they have a unique code, and using that code only they can enter the apartment. Okay, and then we are given that the apartment's entrance door can also be opened with physical keys, and Madhuri Apte has two such keys in her possession. So there are two such keys that are there. Okay, Madhuri Apte has employed a cleaner who has a permanent access code to enter the apartment for cleaning every day. She is available only between 3 and 5 p.m. Right, so there's a cleaner who is available only 2 hours a day. Madhuri Apte's apartment caters largely to international customers. A customer typically stays for 3 days, paying an average rent of $125 per day. Okay, quite expensive. Okay. Now this is given that she has an apartment and she has a digital lock. So whenever a traveler comes there, so it's like a rented place, right? Like you have this Airbnb and OYO and all, right? So that kind of thing, right? So rented, and it has a digital lock. It is given that while Madhuri Apte's studio apartment gets good feedback on other aspects, so it is liked by people, many seem unhappy as they found the operation of the digital lock complicated. Many people find this complicated to use that digital lock. Which of the following options is the best for Madhuri Apte in this context? Which of these is the best option? What is the problem here? That people are finding that digital lock complicated. The first is Madhuri should switch to a physical lock. Madhuri on request should send one of the physical keys 5 days ahead of customer's arrival at an extra charge of 75. Okay, Madhuri should request the cleaner to explain the working of the digital access code to customers for an extra charge. Madhuri should do nothing as digital lock shall be the norm in the future. Madhuri should create a video manual on how to use the digital access code and email it to the customers before their arrival. Okay. Now see, switching to a physical lock is something like being passive, right? So she has that thing, right? So why should he switch? It should do nothing, right? And it will be norm in the future. Maybe it might be the norm in the future, but that does not mean that they should not do anything, right? So these two are passive things to do. Okay. Um, should request the cleaner to explain the working of the digital access to customers for an extra charge. Now see, these are extra charge, right? So adding just two extra charge. So that will not add to the customer experience also. Okay, that charging extra plus that cleaner is available only 2 hours a day. ठीक है, इसका restriction है कि ये सिर्फ 2 घंटे है. मान लो कोई सुबह 10 बजे आ गया, right? What will that do, right? So that is again going weak. Okay, send one of the physical keys 5 days ahead of customer's arrival. ठीक है, right? So maybe may not be possible, may be possible. ठीक है, charging extra. Okay, all those things given. But if you look at this, let us compare between B and E. ठीक है, B भी एक option है कि physical keys भिजवा दे, ठीक है, and charging extra. Madhuri should create a video manual on how to use the digital access code and email it to the customers before their arrival. Okay. Now, see, this is a sustainable thing also. ठीक है. देखो, why is it sustainable? देखो, first is what is she doing? Right, she is creating the like video manual, right? So that is one time effort. एक बार बनाना है, ठीक है, एक बार बना दिया, रिकॉर्डिंग डाल दी, राइट? पीपल कैन वॉच इट एनी टाइम, राइट? सो दे कैन वॉच इट अर्लियर, वहां पे खड़े होके भी देख सकते हैं वीडियो, ठीक है. व्हाट हैपेंस, लाइक समटाइम्स यू डू नॉट नो हाउ टू डू समथिंग, यू watch video at that time, right? You want to cook something, you watch video and cook, right? So they can watch the video, right? They can like they can watch it earlier, like, and it is before the arrival. Okay, so they can watch it earlier, and I mean they can watch it then itself, right? So that is one thing, right? One time effort. इसमें क्या बार बार effort लगेगा, right? So sending keys, right? Maybe a lot of customers ask for it, right? Sending keys, so hassle, right? So it is more convenient, right? So that is convenience for her also, and for the people also. They will watch the video, right? If they do not understand it, they will watch the video and understand it, right? How to use it. So one time effort for her, and for the customers also it is going to be convenient. Okay, and not extra cost also for that, right? Okay. Madhuri's apartment received good feedback from the guests, except with respect to the operation of digital lock. So she is not getting good feedback about this digital lock. Okay. She decided to leave a spare physical key in the house for her guests. Recently, some of the guests had forgotten to leave the key behind during the checkout. Okay. Making a spare key will cost $500. Okay. So you have to read the question and I mean go by it, right? And जो क्वेश्चन में डेटा दिया यू हैव टू गो बाय इट एंड यू शुड नॉट क्वेश्चन. बचपन में कभी पूछता था कि वो 10 वाटरमेलन क्यों खरीदता है. So it costs $500, so it costs $500 and it will take about 10 days to arrive. Okay. She was confused if she should continue leaving the spare key and was looking out for a way out. Which of the following would be the best way out for her? So now what has happened was she was getting whatever decision she took, right? People are not happy with that digital lock. Okay. Right, so good feedback except with the digital lock. So digital lock problem कर ही रहा है, कुछ भी कर लो, not affecting. Now she has that spare key. अब उसने क्या कर दिया, spare key दे दी एक. She had two, but she decided to leave one key there. Now, but what is happening is whenever the guests are leaving, whenever they are checking out, I mean it has happened. Some of the guests, not all, some of the guests forgot to leave the key. And that key is very expensive, $500. Whatever data is given, you have to go by that. Even though it looks funny that $500 for a key and it would take 10 days to arrive. So what should be the best way? Keep digital lock as the only option, communicate to customers. Now this is being passive. ठीक है, ये passive हो रहा है कि क्या कहते हैं नहीं हम digital lock ही रखेंगे. So that is I mean that is going against them, right? So customers are not happy with that. So you do not have to keep digital lock. You have to give the physical keys. Okay. Be present during checkout to ensure the keys returned. Okay. मतलब आप वहां से अपने घर से वहां, so that is like something not feasible thing. Okay. Request the cleaner to be present during checkout. So cleaner is present only for 2 hours, right? A person can check out at any time. So again, something which is not feasible. Send polite reminders to guests before checking date and on the day of checkout to leave the key behind, and charge security deposit of 100, which will be forfeited if the keys are not left behind. Okay. Now out of these two, which looks to be a better one? See, it is told that right you should not be taking harsh action, but it is not like, see, this is what is the issue. Issue is that she has to bear the loss, right, of this cost, and like it takes 10 days to arrive. So like property is also going that way, right? She has to take some action, right? Although both things are good, right? D and E are both good things, that polite reminders, sending polite reminders. But in this case, what is happening, right? She's charging the deposit fee, right? And if the keys are not left behind, then only it will be charged, right? It will be forfeited. So it is a refundable thing, right? Refundable thing में क्या दिक्कत है? It is a refundable money, right? And when money is at stake, people often take care of things, isn't it? So it is perfectly fine to charge a security deposit. There is nothing unethical in that. People might think, "अरे यार पैसे कैसे charge कर रहा है?" That is unethical. No, there is nothing unethical in this, right? You have to choose options that are ethical. So it is correct. It is absolutely correct because she has a loss. Okay, right? Maybe like if a person, despite that, right? So polite reminder is fine, But if you have to choose only one of the options, best way, it is asking the best way. This is the best way, and you charge them. ठीक है, सी अगर वो पूछता कि विच आर द टू बेस्ट वेज, कभी कभी ऐसे भी क्वेश्चन आता है विच आर टू और थ्री बेस्ट वेज, ठीक है, सो दैट वे यू हैव टू चूज, बट यहाँ पे एक ही पूछा है, सो बेस्ट इज दिस, ठीक है, यू आर चार्जिंग दैट फी, पीपल विल ऑब्वियसली लाइक इफ दे हैव पेड समथिंग दे विल नॉट फॉरगेट टू गेट दैट रिफंड ना, उन्हें पता है कि $100 एक्स्ट्रा दिए हैं, ठीक है. No, although the loss is there, but still, I mean, that would minimize the chances of the impact, right? Anyway, loss recover करने का कोई ऐसा तरीका दिया नहीं है, but still, right, the chances will be quite less. So if you are charging $100, right, so a person will remember, यार, वापस जाते समय $100 भी लेना है. Okay, so chances will reduce. Of course, none of the options say that like it will recover all our cost, but still chances will be reduced drastically, right? So imagine yourself also, like going anywhere, like if you submit deposit fee for something, you take care of things, right? So you know that okay, if I do that is damage, I will have to pay for that. So if they've given the security deposit, they will take care of that thing, that they return the key on time. I mean, they do not forget the key, right? So that's a proper one. Okay. It is also a good suggestion to do, right? Good action, but if you choose the better one, that is this one. All right, so this is the series that was running on, right? So from 21st we started till 30th of December we have this series, right? So do attend these lectures to understand different sections, right? It would be a sort of revision for you. And we have also launched GDVAT PI program for CAT. Okay, so you can enroll in that. Okay, so that's for today's class. I hope you enjoyed today's class, right? So we saw that the different ways of answering questions, कहाँ पे ethics का ध्यान रखना पड़ता है, where do we have to think strategically, right? Where do we have to make policies, right? So policy based decisions, okay, and like in case of politics, how do we keep the clean image, right, of organizations, how to take strategic decisions, etc. So we saw all those examples. So what I discussed in the beginning, that it should include all key stakeholders, go for collaborative action, right, do not take very harsh actions. Okay, so all those things need to be kept in mind while answering the questions. And if you still find two options very slippery, right, it happens, right, in decision making especially, there might be some questions which are very close options. So if you encounter that scenario, so it is better to leave that question, right, and the cutoff generally is around 7 to 8 marks, right? So try to score above 10, right? If you are above 10, then you are definitely safe in this section. Okay, so those are the things that you need to keep in mind. Some of the questions will be easily doable, easy, like, and somewhere you have to think logically also, like we did that sports selection team, right? Those are the things which can be done easily. Sometimes it could be very tricky between two options. All right, so all the best for the examination, and do well in the examination altogether. And that's a big examination coming up. So just revise the things and give your best shot in the examination.